Hello, Mohammed. So, Mohammed, you're Palestinian?
Yes, 100%.
And do you live in America?
I have been living in America since I was a kid, but I've gone to the West Bank multiple times.
Yeah, you went to the West Bank. Can I
Yes.
ask you, if you don't mind saying, like, most people don't, but what part of the West Bank are you from?
The blend, it's like 20 minutes from Ramallah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks for telling me because I get all these places confused. So, do you have Palestinian citizenship?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if you wanted to, you could go live there, right?
Yeah, but with everything that's going on, I would probably get sent back because of the IDF. We have had family go back and forth to try to get into the West Bank through Jordan, and they would get rejected through the checkpoints.
They would get your family, even though they have Palestinian citizenship?
Yeah. They have Palestinian citizenship, U.S. citizenship, and then whenever they try, so it's happened multiple times, especially this year since the war started, where they'd go through Jordan, right, instead of Tel Aviv. They try to cross through Jordan, get to the checkpoints. They'll maybe cross one checkpoint, two checkpoints, and then they either get stalled or sent back.
I mean, the checkpoint in Jordan, not
No,
once again.
checkpoint into Israel, Palestine, whatever the area is. It's not, so once they leave Jordan, right, they're into Palestine, Israel territory, correct?
Right?
There are times when the IDF who are at the checkpoints will allow them access to go further.
Okay, so I have a question. Why don't they just go through Tel Aviv?
Because they will either get sent back or interrogated. My first time traveling to Palestine, to the West Bank, because I'm born and raised in America, right? My first time was through Tel Aviv. And you want to know what happened to me when I was 14 years old? Whether you want to believe it or not, but it's something I will never go to Tel Aviv again.
I went through LL, and because I have a Islamic last name, and
Mhm.
I can imagine because they put me through the ringer. They put me through.
14 years old, traveling to Israel, Palestine, right? Landing in Tel Aviv by myself with my luggage, U.S. passport, not even identifying as a Palestinian citizen, okay? Because it's scary. But landed there, first time into a big airport, I asked to go where's my luggage, where to go get my luggage. They asked me to show my passport. Show my passport. My passport says my name. They take me to a lady. The lady says to follow her. I follow her, and instead of going to the luggage area, they take me to a room. And I'm standing outside this room for a while until some guy comes. And then with that guy, he has my luggage already. I have 3 suitcases in my carry-on. They have me go in the room. They have my luggage on the table. They tell me to open everything, like my suitcases. I'm like, why? Well, we have to see what you have in there. I'm like, that's unnecessary. Just clothes, presents, medicine, and all that. And some stuff were wrapped as jewelry for family, to give to family. They have me open everything, even the package stuff, medication. And then once I do that, they check it thoroughly to see if there's anything tucked away and all that. And after that was done, they start questioning me as if I'm in an interrogation. And they're asking me why I'm here, who I'm visiting, how long I'm staying there for, what's my purpose here, what are my intentions, do I hate the Israelis, do I want to cause harm to the Israelis, what was my occupation in America. But I told them I was a minor, I don't work, I'm still in school. And then they try talking to me in Hebrew, which I don't speak Hebrew. They talk to me in Arabic, reply back to them in Arabic. And then another guy comes in. I feel like he was either an IDF police officer because he had like a badge on his chest, whatever. And then he's like, okay, we're going to hold your passport. I'm like, why? He's like, well, we want to see what you're going to do once you're here. I'm like, I'm visiting family. I'm only staying in Tel Aviv for a day or so. And then I'm going to the West Bank. I'm not coming back to Tel Aviv to fly out. So why would I need to come back and get my passport from you guys? And then it was a whole process, about 2-3 hours of all that. And then they wouldn't get my passport. I had to fight for that back. I had to argue with them.
I want to say something, Mohammed.
Go ahead.
I hear Jews a lot of times gaslighting these experiences and saying, well, we get questioned too. And I say the difference is, when you're going through the questioning that you're going to get through. And I said, when I went through the questioning, I went through similar experiences to you, Mohammed. except they didn't take my passport.
But
And
as a 14-year-old minor, that's not okay. That's intimidation tactics. That's
well, it's not
harassment.
okay for anybody to go through it, whether they're 14 or
Well, the reason
25.
why they did that is because I'm Palestinian. It's not because I'm Jewish or Muslim. It's just because I'm Palestinian. I identify as a Palestinian. I
Well,
can't.
it's not okay for them to do it to people who are Muslim. Well, the point is, let me get my point. The point is that when we go through it, we don't know what's going to happen, right? When a Jewish person goes through it, who's not an ex-Muslim or whatever, it doesn't have, you know what I mean? They know like they're going to be fine. And I tell them, I say, it's not the same thing because you don't have the same nerve-wracking experience that you don't know what's going to happen in the end. It's very, very, very unsettling when you don't know what your fate's going to be at the end of that interrogation. I mean, I remember asking because they always bring, like you said, several people to question you. I think 4 people questioned me. And I told the Jewish people who always gaslight me about this, I told them, I said, I asked at one point, like, am I getting on this plane? Like, what's going to happen? Like, because it was quite an experience. And I sympathize with you because I went through it myself. And it's terrible. It's really, and I know like everybody says, oh, they do it for security. And I get that. Like, I totally get that. But it's horrible to go through it. And I feel you. Like, it's.
You want to know something else too? This is something that I will never, this is why I say I will never travel through Tel Aviv again. Okay. So I flew from New York to Tel Aviv. In the airplane, you know how they're flying to Israel, right? And so there's gonna be Jewish civilians in the plane, correct?
Right.
Some started doing prayers. I believe it was prayers, and then I was not doing any prayers because I'm not Jewish.
Right.
I guess they noticed I wasn't praying, so they asked me what my name was. It was just an older dude. They asked me what my name was.
El flight?
Huh? I don't remember. This is 16 years ago. I'm 30 years old now.
Right.
But I just know it was a flight from New York to Tel Aviv, from JFK to Tel Aviv. But
right.
He asked me what my name was, told him my name. He didn't like the way I told him, he didn't like the response. Then he asked me, why am I in the plane? And then luckily, one of the people in the plane that work in the plane, the ones, I forgot the name for them, but she overheard. She asked if there's something going on, and he's like, yes, I have a Muslim sitting next to me. And then she didn't like the way he was talking to me, so instantly she came back with another guy in the flight, and they moved me. They moved me, not him. They moved me to the front and told him to keep his mouth shut because what he was doing was disrespectful and racist.
Yeah, I want to say something. There's Islamophobia everywhere. It's everywhere. But when I went to Israel, I did experience. Again, there's Islamophobia everywhere, but I did experience, as an ex-Muslim, I did experience Islamophobia. I don't want to say exactly what happened, but I had some comments made to me at a meal I went to. It's unfortunate. I think there's people who are accepting of Muslims, and then there's other people who aren't, and accepting of Palestinians, and then there's people who aren't, and
that's true. That's true. There's gonna be racism everywhere and against everybody. I believe that 100%. But I have a question because I've been wanting to ask you this for a while now. You say you support the Palestinians, correct?
Say that again.
I have a question that I've been trying to ask you for a while. You say that you support the Palestinians, correct?
Yes, I support the Palestinians when I feel they're right, and I support them.
I'm gonna give you a scenario if it's okay. So if as a human being.
By the way, I don't do well with hypotheticals. I really don't like hypotheticals. But go ahead.
As a human being, not religious. As a human being, you're just a human being, right? Okay. You live in an area where you want to be safe, protected, and live peacefully, correct?
Right.
You don't want no violence. You don't want to fight nobody. You don't want to attack nobody. You want to just live peacefully next to your neighbor.
Everybody wants that. Yeah. Everybody wants that. Yes.
So this has been going on for almost 80 years, this conflict for Israel Palestinians on both sides. It's not just one-sided. So what I'm getting at is this. how can somebody justify, and this is just my opinion, you can have a different opinion and I'll respect it, but how can somebody justify saying it's a war, saying, and this is just like I said, in my opinion, you say Hamas are considered terrorists, and what they did October 7th, I condemn it, okay? I do condemn it. But in most people's eyes, Hamas, to them, are considered freedom fighters because what they're fighting is an occupation. They don't have equal rights like the Israelis do in Israel, okay? And yes, there are Muslims who live in Israel, but they can't, not most Muslims who live there can speak up against the government because they will get treated the same if they spoke up against Israel or the political government there. They'll get arrested.
I agree with you. They would be treated very badly if they spoke.
They'll get arrested. They'll get tortured. They'll get interrogated. If they have a business, they'll lose their business. If they work in a career as a doctor, a nurse, or an engineer.
I agree with you. You're right. I agree with you. You're right.
We Palestinians in Israel who live there, they don't have equal rights, just like Israelis who are Jewish. They're like.
You have to understand Israelis that are Jewish who also speak up sometimes.
No, I believe that. I have Jewish friends who speak against what Israel's doing, and I appreciate it. But what I'm getting at is this: the only way to stop it. And the only way I feel like where you can maybe have your mind a little open towards the Palestinians, and if you truly support them as well, is if Israel allows the Palestinians to have a state of their own, or fully grant them the same citizenship that they have in Israel.
Okay, Mohammed, let me just interject because you've kind of made a lot of points. Let me just say something. First of all, I feel very bad for the ordinary Palestinian, and just let me finish my point before you have to respond. The regular Joe Schmo who's just paying his bills, taking care of his family, going to work, or, not doing any violence, just whatever, just living his life, that just wants peace, wants his, 2 states, like I met a guy in Hebron, right? When I went to the Hebron Museum in the Palestinian area, he's willing to have a 2-state solution. He's not doing any violence. He's just living his life. He's like a tour guide, does the museum. He just wants access to be able to get to and from around the land. He's just tired. I feel sorry for people like that. They're a victim of this awful situation. I really sympathize with them.
So
hold on, let me finish.
Yeah,
Just let me finish. Let me get it out. As for being a war, it is a war. And every couple of years, there's another war in Gaza, right? And lots of people die because Hamas starts and then Israel responds. And the thing about it is if we end this war now and Hamas starts again because they're not defeated enough, then there's going to be another war and we're going to be back right where we started and more Palestinians are going to die. So I don't want to see that happen because I don't want to see Palestinians continue to die. I don't want to see Israelis continue to die. So let me finish. Something's got to be done about Hamas. Now you saying somehow they're freedom fighters. My question to you on this is if we take that argument, let's just address this. What has Hamas's freedom fighting, I don't agree with that, actually accomplished? It's not gotten them a state, not a 2-state, not a 1-state, not any land. It's not gotten anything for the Palestinians. It's just gotten more checkpoints, more walls, more restrictions. It's just gotten people killed, both Palestinian and Israeli. That's the thing. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. This resistance has hurt the Palestinians more than it's helped them. The only time the Palestinians have ever gotten further is when they've done peaceful resistance, not violent resistance. Violence of the intifadas is what got the checkpoints in the walls. Every single time there's more violence in Hebron, there's more checkpoints. So what I'm trying to say is violence has hurt the Palestinians. It's not helped them. So I'm just saying, if it accomplished something, I'd be like, I understand why you do it. But it doesn't accomplish anything besides killing people, and that doesn't help the Palestinians. So I don't understand the logic in it. If something works, do it. But it doesn't work. It doesn't achieve your goals.
Can I answer now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so you said that you don't think I have valid points to saying they're freedom fighters. And the reason why I call them freedom fighters is because, one, before they became an army, a militia, if we want to call that, right? The ones that helped fund them was Israel to fight over the Palestinian Authority.
But hold on, but I have to cut you off there and say the reason why they funded them is because they were a charity. They were a charity. They began as a charity.
I let you speak, and I tried cutting you off, and you told me to give you a chance. So let me allow to speak as well.
Go ahead.
You say they're a charity. You say they were funded because whatever you think, but to us Palestinians, and what we know and what the world knows and what they can agree on to this is they were funded by Israel and the United States to fight and win political government over the Palestinian Authority. And then once they did become a political government in Gaza and they got elected, not all of the citizens in Gaza elected them because 50% of Gazans are under 18. Majority of
kids don't vote in any election anywhere.
Majority of Gazans are under 18, so they can't vote. So obviously, yes, Hamas has become the political government in Gaza. But to go back on the freedom fighter comment, like I said, you said you're not good at hypotheticals, but I'll give you a small one. If your family for so long, for years, was getting abused, was getting picked on, was getting, you got to leave your house, got to leave your land. This is our property. This is our territory. Leave. And your family's been living there for hundreds of years, have deeds, have keys, and have proof of living there, but they still kick you out. And if you don't leave, you're gonna get either beat up or arrested and maybe killed at times. That happens, and so it causes people in Palestine, West Bank, or Gaza to get angry, to get upset, to want to fight back. So you can't say they're attacking for no reason.
That's not the whole story. In 1947, they were offered half the land.
Yes, okay.
There were several two-state solutions offered to them.
Okay, you said 19% they're offered the land, right? Israel became a state in 1948, correct?
Well, listen to me. They were offered 19. Listen, Mohammed, I gotta jump in. In 1947, they were offered half the land. They turned that down. Since 1967, I forgot when the two-state proposals were. They were offered several two-state proposals.
Andrea, I let you finish, and every time I say something, you want to cut me off.
You're going on it's very long.
Well, no, it's not wrong. It's like I said, your opinion's your opinion. My opinion's my opinion. I'm respecting their opinion.
It's not factual. You're leaving out a lot of important context. The Palestinians were offered a state so many times.
You said 1947 they gave them half the state, correct?
Yes.
Let's say that's true, right? Let's say that's true.
It is true.
Wait. Okay, let me finish. 1947 they gave them half the state, and the Palestinians didn't like that, correct? What happened to the 750,000 Palestinians on the Nakba forced out of their homes, and whoever didn't get forced out.
You want me to answer that? That happened after the Palestinians turned down half the state.
Let me finish. I'm not done. And then the ones that were forced out were 750,000, correct? And the ones that didn't get forced out were massacred. You go down history. You go on the websites.
Mohammed, that's not factually correct. That's not correct. Mohammed, that's not factually correct. Mohammed.
Whatever news site you want to go on. Hold up, I'm not done. I'll finish this off with this. Whatever news site you want to go on, the United Nations shows everything that's happened from the time it became a country to now. And it's not an opinion. It's not a lie. It's facts. You want to go off facts? Go off
the United Nations is a very biased entity.
They help you guys become a state.
Mohammed, if you want to know the history of Israel Palestine, I have a great video by a historian who's not so pro-Israel on my link tree.
I can talk to somebody that's pro-Israel.
From 1880 to present day. His name is Benny Morris, and he's
the point I'm trying to get at
Palestinian at times.
The point I'm trying to get at is this. For someone who's Palestinian, who has family who's been nakbed, can't go back to Palestine, for people who have family who are in Gaza, who have family in the West Bank, we have first-hand accounts. First-hand accounts of what our family experiences. And they're not based off flies or TikToks or YouTubes or Google. No, it's first-hand accounts of our family. And I hate that.
I'm not denying. Mohammed, let me talk for a second. Mohammed, let me talk for a second. I'm not denying what happened with the Nakba. What I'm trying to explain to you is that happened after the Palestinians turned down the opportunity to have a state and launched a war with 5 Arab armies. And in that war, Jews died, people from the Arab armies died, and Palestinians died. It was a war. In a war, people died, just like in this war, people are dying. Okay. When you launch a war, you're gonna have some people that die.
All right, okay. So you said it's a war, right? Let's call it a war.
Yes, it was a war in 1948.
Let's call it a war, like you're calling it, right? Let's go back to
that was a war. It was called a war in 1948.
Let's go back to World War II then, if we're going to call that a war as well.
Listen, I'm not going to have you do World War II distortion. We don't do that here. We'll remove you. We don't do World War II distortion. We don't do World War II distortion in this live because
Andrea,
we don't do
Andrea,
World War II distortion in this live.
Andrea,
But the bottom line, we don't do World War II distortion in this live because you guys sit there and turn and twist and bring up World War II every single time.
I'm not turning and twisting. Andrea, okay? I don't.
The extermination of a people is
yes.
totally
I'm not justifying that. I am not justifying that. I am not justifying
different. Okay, which they did die in a war, but it was an extermination.
I'm not justifying that, Andrea. I'm trying to give you a comparison, but you're cutting me off. You're not letting me finish.
We're not going to compare World War II to anything because we're not going to use World
War II had many numbers. World War II had many people die in World War II.
Mohammed, you bring up World War II again, I'm going to remove you and block you. We're not doing World War II here.
You called.
Can you bring up World War I or Afghanistan or Iraq? No, you don't. You bring up World War II because you're being anti-Semitic.
I'm not being an anti-Semite. I have Jewish friends.
You probably know nothing about World War II.
Palestinians are Semitic. Andrea, Palestinians are Semitic too.
Every Palestinian is an expert on World War II. Anti-Semitism has nothing to do with Semitic language.
You just said I'm being anti-Semitic. How are you going to call me anti-Semitic when Palestinians are Semitic too?
But I don't care how Semitic you are.
I have nothing against anybody. I have nothing against anybody that's Jewish. I have Jewish friends. You just brought up
World War II to try to win your argument.
You just said that the wars between Israel and Palestine are wars. How can I not mention World War II if you're saying the wars?
Literally, I'm talking about the wars in Israel Palestine, and you start talking about World War II. That's your go-to.
No, it's not my go-to. It's just trying to give you a comparison. You try to give out.
That's every anti-Semite's go-to.
How's that anti-Semite? Explain to me how's that anti-Semite. I want you to give me an explanation.
Okay, dude, just don't bring up World War II and we can move on.
No, please. I actually want to know why you think that's
again, because it's a go-to for everybody. World War II, when they don't even know anything about World War II. Are you an expert? Are you an expert on World War II?
I love. If you ask me, if you want to have a civilized discussion,
I'm telling you, I don't want to talk about World War II. So can we just move on from World War II? Do you have anything else to talk about besides World War II?
Listen, Andrea. We can skip that part if you want to skip that part. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Now we can move on and talk about something else. Let's talk about something else besides World War II. I'm telling you, as a Jew, I don't want to talk about World War II.
Okay, I just have one question for you. Do you believe the Palestinians have a right to defend themselves?
I believe that anybody who's being attacked has the right to defend themselves.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. But why okay. What Hamas did October 7th, I condemn it, okay?
That is an offensive attack, what they did on October 7th.
I condemn it. Okay, I condemn it. What happened October 7th?
What Hamas does is offensive actions, not defensive actions.
Okay, hold up. So going back to what I was saying earlier, before you started getting riled up. Okay. What about the stuff that happens in the West Bank? Forget Gaza right now, right? Forget Gaza.
Okay. For example, what the settlers did to the Palestinian village. I
have family who own farms. Can
I please finish my sentence?
I always let you finish, but whenever
I haven't even finished my sentence. I haven't even
Go ahead.
You haven't even let me complete my thought, and you're like, Aria taught me. And I was about to stick up for the Palestinians, and you didn't even give me a chance.
Every time I throw out a point, you
didn't give me a chance to stick up for the Palestinians.
Finish what you need to say, then I'm going to say what I need to say. Finish, go ahead.
You didn't even give me a chance to stick up for the Palestinians. I was about to.
You go ahead. I'll stop talking.
Okay, so what I was about to say, what the settlers did to the Palestinian village, begins with a J, and I forgot the name of it, and I probably can't pronounce it, was horrendous. And Palestinians defending themselves against an attack like that is 100% totally justified. And I think they were trying to defend themselves, but they couldn't because the settlers attacked them so brutally.
Okay.
So that happened, I think, a couple days ago, I believe it was.
Yes, I've seen them. I've seen what happened. Can I talk now?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so going back to what I was trying to say, and then I'll stop cutting you off when you have a point to something to say. I'll stop cutting you off. But I just want you to let me finish. Okay, so let's forget about what happened in Gaza, right? In the West Bank, I have family who own farms. I have family who have goats. I have family who own property and land, right? Why is it okay for a citizen from Israel? I'm not gonna call him an extremist. Okay, a citizen from Israel. Okay, allowed to come into the West Bank day or night. Because this happens day or night, to terrorize the farms, to tear down the crops, the olive trees, to burn the farms, to burn the cars, to attack the houses, to attack the civilians that are Palestinian in their towns, in their villages, and then when us Palestinians try to defend ourselves, big word, try to defend ourselves. Guess who stops us from defending ourselves and helps the Israeli citizens help attack us? The IDF or the IDF police.
Okay, so Mohammed, are you going to let me answer that, or are you going to cut me off?
I'm done. Yes, I'll let you answer. Go ahead.
So what I will say is it's not okay. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I've spoken out against that. But I want to just tell you one thing. Part of the reason why the IDF has such a hard time controlling that is because I think it's either Shmulkovich or Ben-Gvir who's in charge of the police that are out there and instructs them to stick up for the settlers, and B, because the settlers have guns and turn the guns and also attack the IDF. So when the settlers have guns and also have military training because they've been the IDF, and the IDF, and they're attacking the IDF, it's very hard because you'll hear stories about the settlers turning on the IDF and like injuring the IDF. So it's a whole problem. It's a political thing where Ben-Gvir and Shmulkovich is telling the IDF to stand down, and then you have a thing where the settlers are turning on the IDF, and it's a problem because I think some in the IDF really want to do something about it. You know, like you'll see one day the IDF will tear down an outpost, and the next day Ben-Gvir will be like, "Why did you tear it down?" So I think there's a lot of people in Israel that want that to be taken care of, but it's a problem because the settlers, not all the settlers, not all of them, but the extremist ones are fucking out of control, and I don't think people know what to do about it because, again, you have these two crazy people in government who are in charge of these things. And again, the settlers these extremists are crazy violent. They have military training and they have guns and they are willing to attack the IDF. Okay. So it's a problem. It's an issue.
Okay. So okay. Can I speak now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so you said that the extremists who have guns are trained or were in the IDF and they're just settlers.
Because they've been in the IDF. Yes, they've been soldiers themselves.
Okay. So do you? Okay, listen. I'll agree to this. There's extremists on both sides. Okay, right? There's extremists on both sides, Palestinian and Israeli. There's people who have too much hatred on one another. I'll agree to that. But most Palestinians, right? Most Palestinians do not have weapons like the settlers do. They don't go into Israel.
Well, Mohammed, that's not true. There's a lot of Palestinians with weapons.
Andrea, don't cut me off. I didn't cut you off. I'll let you speak. Don't cut me off. Come on. There are attacks from Palestinians that have knives or supposedly go and attack into Israel and attack Israel, and there's citizens killed in Israel.
Let's be honest here. A lot of Palestinians have weapons. I've seen video after video.
Yes,
I've seen
Listen,
groups of Palestinians with tons of weapons in the West Bank. So many terrorist groups in the West Bank. They have so many weapons. I mean, I've seen thousands of weapons, crowds of people with hundreds of weapons.
That's what happens. That's what happens when they get picked on for so long and abused and threatened. At night, I have family at night who get raided by the IDF, where the IDF takes over their house for a day or two. And they spy on the community.
You just said they didn't have weapons, and now you're saying
I'm talking about the IDF. I'm saying most civilians in Palestine don't, but I'm not gonna lie and say not a lot of them do. People in Jenin, people in Nablus who are fighting against the IDF, yes, they have weapons. Okay,
that's the problem. If they stop fighting against the IDF, then the IDF wouldn't come right to your house.
Listen, Andrea, I'm gonna give you another hypothetical. How is somebody supposed to fight back against somebody that has weapons?
Mohammed, the problem is, listen to what the problem is. The problem is they come out of Jenin and Nablus and they come and kill people, so the IDF comes and does a raid. I mean, let's be real here. You do realize that someone was just killed in the West Bank today. You do know that, right?
Yes, I pay attention to all the news.
I mean, there's literally a terrorist attack, every day, almost every other day? Okay. If not every day, every other day, there's literally a terrorist attack.
But here's the thing, Andrea. Here's the thing. Okay. You have random day citizens, right, in Palestine. Let's just say in West Bank, okay? Like I said, let's put the Gaza stuff aside for a bit. But random day citizens who have experienced trauma, intimidation, attacks, whether it's through the checkpoint.
But there's people who experience violence all over the world, and they don't go kill people.
Yes. But over time, Andrea, this is factual. If you want to get factual, over time, when people experience that, right, there's going to be an uprising. There's going to be revolution. There's going to be
Mohammed, you can't say, listen, let me tell you something. My entire life, I've been abused, like heavily abused, but I don't go out and kill people. You can't say because someone's been abused.
You have never
that gives them
experienced,
the right
Andrea,
to go out
you
and
have
kill
never
people.
experienced what we have experienced. You've never been in
All
Palestine.
I'm saying, Muhammad, is people, listen, there's people who have experienced horrible war, horrible abuse, horrible beatings,
It's not the-
essay. That
it's
doesn't
not
mean
the
they
same,
have the right.
Andrea.
It's like saying if someone got
It's
essayed, abused, they have the right to go do that to other people. That's just not logical.
I'm not
That's
condoning.
That's
I'm not
just
condoning.
ridiculous.
I'm
Like,
not
go get
condoning.
some therapy or something.
No, I'm
Don't
not
go out and
condoning.
victimize
I'm
other
not.
people.
I'm not
It's like
condoning.
saying Jane
No,
hit
no, I'm not
Sally.
done, Andrea.
Then
I'm not
Sally
done.
has the
Andrea, I'm
right
not
to
done.
go out and hit Tom.
That's
just
not what Andrea. You're flipping my words. I'm not condoning violence. I'm not condoning Palestinians to go fight back. What I'm getting at is this: over time, when it goes on for so many years, people get fed up. People get tired. They want to change.
But that's not how to get change. Has that ever brought about change?
It's happened all over the world.
More
It's
checkpoints,
Andrea,
more restrictions, more
Andrea.
problems.
Andre, it's happened all over the world where governments and countries experience the same thing or worse, and people just start rising up and fight back. That's what I'm trying to get.
They've been doing this for 75 years and it's gotten them nowhere.
You want to know why it's not? You want to know why? Hope you just said it's gotten them nowhere, right? You want to know why it hasn't gotten them nowhere? Because of one thing: the Israeli government has weapons bigger and better.
That's not it, Mohammed. That's not Mohammed. Let me tell you something. Let me give you an example. Today there was a terrorist attack in the West Bank, right? I'll tell you what happened. Basically, a guy was a security guard at I think it was a
Yes, he
factory.
was at a checkpoint. He got attacked, and the Palestinian took his weapon and ran.
Mohammed, let me tell the story so I can explain to the live. Basically, one of the workers at the factory killed him with a hammer. But to make a long story short, my point of telling the story is now what's going to happen, the result of this, is that less workers are going to be, Palestinian workers are going to be able to get work permits now probably, which is bad because I know you're probably going to disagree with me on this, but Palestinian workers get very good job in these settlements. They get extremely good benefits, extremely good pay, extremely good days off.
Can I jump in real fast?
Please let me finish. So the Palestinians are going to be the ones that lose because this one guy decided to do a ridiculous thing.
So you just said that they have good benefits and they get good pay, right? I have cousins, whether you want to believe it or not. I have cousins who work in Israel with permits, right? Okay, with permits. They tell me they get treated differently. They still get harassed. They still get belittled. They still get treated like shit, whether it's at their job site or at the checkpoints. As a Palestinian with a permit. So
I don't know how they get treated at checkpoints, but I literally talked to Gazan workers myself when I went to the Ariz crossing back before October 7th last year, last May, who work in Israel. So I talked to them myself.
Yes, everybody has.
I went to the Gazan. Hold on, excuse me. I went to the Gazan border, and let me tell you something. They really like working in Israel because they make like 200 shekels a day, and they make 20 shekels in Gaza, and they weren't complaining. So I don't know about your cousins and these stories, but listen, I mean, I'm sure there's a few assholes out there. What I'm trying to say is, for the most part, people appreciate the fact that they get good pay, they get good days off, they get good benefits. Listen, at a job, there's always going to be a few bad, like, co-employees. Listen, you work in America, right? At your job. Don't you just like a few people at work and then you like a few people?
I don't hate my job. I love my job.
Okay, well, listen, everybody who has a job, let's say you work at McDonald's, right? And you have 10 people working with you, right? You're probably going to dislike Jane and Sally, and you're going to like Tom, Mark, and Mary and Kate, right? You're not going to get along with everybody at work. That's the reality of work, right? You're not going to like everybody. But the thing is, people appreciate the fact that in Israel, in the settlements, they get much higher pay. At the end of the day, as someone who's been homeless before, people want a roof over their head. People want to be able to pay their bills. People want to be able to feed their families. That's what people really care about.
I get the point you're trying to make, but it's not the same for the Palestinians. I promise you that.
It's not the same. Palestinians don't want to be able to feed their families. That's
No.
Can I
finish?
They want to feed their families.
You
not
don't
because there's so much love
Andrea,
that they have to go to a settlement to work.
Listen, you may have spoken to Gazans or you may not have spoken to Gazans who'll tell you they enjoy their job.
I really did. I have pictures to prove it.
Okay. And if you do, I believe you. But if you don't, I don't know. Okay, but what I'm getting at is this. You have a small percentage of first-hand accounts compared to Palestinians like myself, coming from my family, who have experienced all the trauma they've experienced, the family members we've lost, the houses we've lost, the land we've lost.
I'm not denying that you've been harassed by settlers. I mean, that's not a newsflash to anybody.
So what I'm getting at is this.
I'm not denying
The only way I see this getting any better for both sides, truly, and this is me just being honest and respectful towards it, is if Bibi and Ben Gavir, the one guy who says he wants to allow his IDF soldiers to rape detainees, okay, if those two guys got out of office and somebody else...
I don't think that Ben Gavir was the one who said that. I believe it was somebody else.
But he was trying to pass the law.
And I want to say something. The guy who said that, by the way, is a guy who doesn't... My friend looked him up. My Israeli friend looked him up. He doesn't even have a real position in the Knesset. He's just some...
Okay, well, it was...
Let me please finish.
You don't let me finish. I'm not done talking, and you cut me off.
I'd like to please finish because I'm correcting
Andrea, you know how much you sound like a hypocrite?
It's not true. It's not
I say
here, but I want the live to get... Mohammed, I want the live to get real, true, accurate information. The guy who said... Mohammed, the guy who said it, I know who said it. He doesn't have...
What's his name so I can look it up?
Mohammed, please, let me finish.
What's his name?
The guy who said it is not a member. He's not a minister in the Knesset. He has a position. You have to understand, not everybody is like that important. He's just a guy who always makes news because he says very disturbing things about Palestinians. But he's really a nobody. Just not everybody is equal in the world when it comes to power. So he's really a nobody.
Okay.
I'm trying to make that up.
So I say 10 words and then you cut me off and I let you speak a whole...
I just want to correct your misinformation.
Well, if I'm wrong, like I asked you, give me the name so I can look them up and see if it's true. But here's the thing. What I was getting at is this. If this is going to be peaceful towards both states or both areas, right? And it's going to end this conflict, it either needs to be a one-state solution for all, equally, no third-class citizenship or second-class citizenship, or... the Israeli government allows the Palestinians to create their own state.
Mohammed, they're not going to allow the Palestinians to have citizenship in Israel because they want it to be a Jewish, like they're not going to make the whole country and everybody have citizenship because they don't want it to be a Palestinian majority state. But someone said something about annexing the West Bank and then giving them residency. That's an option. I don't want that option because nobody wants that really. Maybe annexing Area C. There's different things people have talked about. But again, I don't think that's... Listen, also the Palestinians, a lot of them don't even want citizenship. It's like with East Jerusalem. It's like they're residents and they've been offered citizenship and they won't even take it.
Well, why not?
Let me finish. There's a bunch of different factors here. But the bottom line is that a two-state solution is the only viable solution here. But right now, the Israelis don't want it because they've given up. And the Palestinians are from river to the sea people. So...
They're what? The Palestinians are what?
River to the sea people. They want all the land.
That's not all true.
You don't think Palestinians are river to the sea people?
I'm a Palestinian, right? I'm a Palestinian. Okay, I'm a Palestinian. And I'll say this openly. I even want to live peacefully with anybody, Jew, Christian, Catholic.
But you want a two-state solution?
As long as there's no more conflict and they allowed the Israelis in Israel go back to the 1967 borders like the United Nations wanted, then that will happen. But the only reason why I don't think it'll happen right now is because who you guys have in the government.
No, what about the old city? Would you want the old city in Palestinian control, or would you let that go to the Israelis?
Listen, that's a good question, and I like that question. So that one's a tough one, but I'll answer for you the way I think it would work for both sides. That area, the old city, right, where it's claimed for all, why not make that a neutral zone?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, what third party would take care of it?
I'm not done.
Let me just finish
my... No, Andrea, you cut me off. I don't cut you off when you talk. You tell me you want to give out your points, but let me give my points, please. You asked me a question about the old city.
You answered. You said neutral zone. So what I said was who would take charge of it, and I said I was trying to give you the history that when Jordan was in charge of it, the Jews weren't allowed to pray.
And then, what happened? What happened now? What happened now? Right now,
the Israelis would not really feel comfortable with anybody else.
And then right now, the old city is controlled by who?
The Israelis, and everybody's allowed to pray.
So when I went with my family, a bunch of us went to go visit it. Right, we were denied access. So it's just
You
it's a
know,
whole.
hold on. I don't believe that you were denied access to a lot.
You don't believe that? You want to put money on it? You want to
Mohammed, how were you denied access? Well, like what? Okay, let me ask. Why were you denied access to Al-Aqsa?
They didn't let groups. It was just me or my family. They didn't let groups go in.
They didn't let groups go in. When was this? When was this?
My first time visiting was 2014. My first time visiting.
So it's 2014, and you're saying in 2014 for some reason they were not allowed.
I was in Palestine for about 2 months. Okay, I went to Tel Aviv. Like I told you, I went to Tel Aviv. Okay, landed there and I had my experience there. And I went to the West Bank. I was there for almost 2 months. I went to go visit every place I could visit to get the full experience as a Palestinian. Okay, to get the full experience as a Palestinian, to see the cities, to see the beautiful areas that we have there.
I get the point. So what you're saying, for some reason, when you went to Al-Aqsa, they turned you away because they wouldn't let groups.
It was me, my 2 cousins, my aunts, and my uncle. Okay, that's just my family. And then in front of us was another bigger group. I don't know if they're all together. Okay, because they had some lines, right? Because there's checkpoints there too. Okay, they're gated. They told us, nope, you can't enter. Why? They didn't give us a reason. Leave.
Well, Mohammed, sometimes there's restrictions on Al-Aqsa due to security situations. Because let me just get my thought out before you continue. Because basically there's overcrowding and there's heightened threats with terrorism, and there's a lot of people, and sometimes they don't allow like younger people and they only allow older. It depends what time of year you go, right? Because Al-Aqsa has a tendency to get extremely overcrowded and extremely have a heightened area of tension, right? Because remember, there's been people who have been, killed, like people have been killed there. So you have to, and there's been problematic things that have happened there. So, I mean, they don't do things just to be mean. They do things for a reason. But for the most part, everybody can pray freely. I mean, during Ramadan, you've had hundreds of thousands of people pray despite all the problems that have been there in like one day. So, okay. I mean, I think honestly, the Israelis are doing the best they can. Like, people complain, at the church we couldn't get in, but you can't have too many people there because of fire hazard, right? So, I mean, the Israelis have to control crowds, right? So that's the thing. Like, I think people have to understand that, like, they're doing the best they can when, like, everybody's coming to these holy sites. They have to allow freedom of worship, but they have to control it at the same time. I've also been to Israel, and I know, like, with everybody there, what a tough situation it is to manage all those holy sites, especially on the holidays.
Okay. So you said that they have restrictions and it gets overcrowded, right?
Yeah, like when that church thing happened, everybody said. Let me give you an example. When that church thing happened, everybody said that they were not allowing Christians in. But the thing is, the church only has so much capacity, and they had fire in the church that day, and it was like a fire hazard. It was an overcrowding thing. And I've been in that church, and if you've been in that church, there's like walls, and it's like a compound. And if you overcrowd that, it would be very, very dangerous.
So here's the thing. So do you remember what happened in 2019, 2020 when COVID was around?
Yeah. I remember what happened, but yeah, I remember COVID.
Do you remember how the people who went to Al-Aqsa to pray, to celebrate Ramadan, do you know what the IDF did? Truly, do you remember it, or do you not pay attention?
Can refresh my memory. What happened?
They started shooting tear gas, gas grenades, whatever you want to call it. Because they were rioting inside Al-Aqsa? Because they were so the settlers. Wait. I'm not done, Andrea. So before they were rioting, right? Because there's a reason why they started rioting. And if you want to admit this or not, or you don't know it or not, before they started rioting, they allowed Israeli settlers to go into Al-Aqsa. You know how
no, hold on, Mohammed.
No,
Mohammed, I'm not going to do. No, we're not allowing misinformation.
Well, look it up. You have a phone, right?
Mohammed, I have been to the dome. I have been to the Temple Mount. Okay, let me explain something to you. I'm not going to allow misinformation in my life. We're not doing that here.
It's not misinformation.
No, Mohammed, we're not doing that here because I have visited the Temple Mount.
That's not misinformation.
When you visit, Mohammed, I'm not going to allow misinformation here.
That's not misinformation.
When you visit the Temple Mount, you are not allowed inside Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Are you sure about that?
Not allowed.
They're not allowed to walk. They're not allowed to walk.
No, Mohammed. You are not, Mohammed. No Israeli, no non-Muslim, unless like someone lies and says they're Muslim.
They're not allowed. Okay, I'll let you finish.
Can't do that. All I'm saying is none of us are allowed in during the visiting. First of all, we have special Pacific visiting hours, and none of us are allowed, even like within like 2 feet of that. Like literally, when we go on our visiting hours, because I went twice. I only went once. I went twice. When we go on our visiting hours, literally, like we're not even allowed like that close to the mosques. We can go like near them, but we can't go like up close to them, right? And we can take pictures and we can walk around, but we can't like go near the door.
Andrea,
like,
I'm gonna cut you off.
It's very, very regulated. Like, believe me, because while we're there, there's also some Palestinians wandering around. So like, I'm telling you, and there's tons of police there. And if we go out of line, like they will arrest us. Like it's a whole thing. And there's a Jordanian WAF there. The Jordanian WAF is also policing us. They also put garments on us if we're not modest enough. It's a whole, I have a picture on my Instagram of the garments they put on the European.
I don't deny that. I don't deny that. I don't deny that.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole rigmarole when you go to the Temple Mount. So to tell me that some Israeli settlers just strolled into Al-Aqsa Mosque is a bunch of fucking bullshit. And I'm not going to let you say to my live, because it's a complete lie.
I don't deny. No.
The Israeli police, the Israeli military, the Jordanian WAF, the Muslim guys that sit outside Al-Aqsa. It's just not
there's no lies. What I'm trying to say is
this. I don't care what you saw on TikTok.
No, it's not
Instagram,
TikTok. Andrea, see,
Twitter,
listen. You're not letting
Facebook.
me finish.
It's just not true. Never happened. Did not happen. Lie.
Andrea, they don't have.
Not true.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Now you're getting flustered. You're getting upset. Can I finish?
I'm getting upset because I don't like when people lie when I've actually been there myself. I've probably been there more times than you have. Literally, I know what happens. And it's literally
you know what happens. From the Israeli side, you know what happens. From the Palestinian side, I know what happens. They have, you guys have Israelis.
I have the pics to prove it. I have the pics to prove it.
Okay, your picks, right? Okay. Here, let me finish before you cut me off again. You guys are guarded to walk around the courtyard of Al-Aqsa. I never said they go inside Al-Aqsa. I'm saying they walk around it as an intimidation tactic.
You can't be triggered because other people get to visit besides Muslims. Like, I'm sorry, but like,
I'm not saying you guys aren't allowed. I'm not saying you guys aren't allowed to go to go pray and visit the Temple Mount. I hope
we
one
don't
day
even pray. We're not even allowed to pray. We can only walk around. If we even look like we're praying, we get arrested. If we even bring a prayer book there, we get arrested. We can't pray at all. So don't even say we're praying. Nobody's praying. Everybody's just walking. Listen, I remember a tourist kissed another tourist, and the Jordanian WAF started screaming. It happened while I was there, screaming at the tourist, "You can't kiss here. It's disrespectful to the mosque." Because you're not in the mosque. You're like, they were like feet. So
yes, I believe that.
But
like
they
I said,
kissed for a photo,
like
and
I
they
said,
continue them. Don't do this. This is our holy spot. You can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. That's her right.
Like I said,
on the Temple Mount.
Come on. One day, I hope everybody's allowed to pray there together at the same time, peacefully. Okay. What I'm getting at is this: I didn't say they go in Al-Aqsa Mosque and terrorize it. I said they're guarded by the IDF police or the soldiers, and they're allowed to walk the corridor. I'm not changing the story. If you have recorded, record it. Look at what I said.
It's all being recorded. Believe me, it's all being recorded.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. What I'm getting at is this: they are allowed to go in the courtyards, guarded by police or IDF, whatever you want to call them, while Palestinians are there. Okay. And then you said that the Palestinians riot. Going back to what I was trying to tell you, the reason why that big stuff happened back then in 2019, 2020, okay, is because both sides were trying to fight one another over.
Because the Palestinians rioted, and then the Israeli police had to control the rioting inside the mosque because they were setting Molotov cocktails and catching things on fire. They caught a tree on fire. They caught a rug on fire inside the mosque. There was literally a fire hazard. Like, they were throwing rocks, and the rocks were, the Western Wall is so close to the mosque that the rocks were going over to the Western Wall. It was a hazard to everything around them. So they had to go and calm down the rioting. They were not only hurting themselves, but also hurting everything around them and people around them. So they had to calm that down.
Okay. Well, it's nice talking to you.
Okay, take care.
We can probably talk later on more when we're
Okay,
calmer.
take care.
You have a good night.